So welcome to our walkthrough for Branage. I hope everyone have a good off season. Have time to take a break, recharge battery, and try to get to the new season. So for this season, I changed to the Porsche, so I'll do those walkthrough on it. And like usual, we'll do the first lap in the car, and we could do a flying lap on the outside too. And then I'll go corner to corner, expanding the line, braking reference, and keep in mind that all the braking reference that will tell you, it's my one for the Porsche. So for a different car, it could be different, could be probably before the Porsche, because the Porsche could brake pretty late. And all those things is also from my field of view. I'm driving in the VR, so if you're driving on the monitor, if you have a different, you're not driving in the car, if you're driving outside, whatever camera you're using, so those could all change where will be your braking point. So it's just a reference, so you could test it on your side when you drive it. During this lap, you check the output, check the steering. Don't look too much at the throttle and brake. It's pretty specific for the Porsche. You'll see a lot of time in the corner I'll be like touching the gas a bit just to have some to stabilize the rear of the Porsche. That's the Porsche thing, so don't come too much on that to try to replicate those on the any other car. On the other car will pretty much be just coasting through the corner and then get back on the throttle. So let's start the lap and we'll watch it, and after that we could watch it from the outside, see a better line. From the outside first, then we'll tell the time. this was a lot. It's 122.482. So now we'll go to corner to corner, and at any point if you have question, just ask. You don't have to wait until the end.
Did you say a 22?
22.4, yeah.
Damn.
Okay, and you'll see throughout the lap to all the corner pre-notch is pretty easy for the braking point. They are pretty much every time. You'll see, we'll start with the first corner, but a lot of them, they're pretty easy to figure it out. So coming through first corner, you're gonna start to being on the right side of the track, and then when you cross the line, you're gonna move to the left to prepare for the corner, and I'll explain why you go on the right side when we get to the end. So braking point, here's when edge, you have almost all the time, you'll get those box. We have 2 line, and you have another one that with 2 line, and always have almost those 2 orange thing on the fence for those board. If those board get destroyed, that could happen, you still have those orange box on the rail. So your braking point will be somewhere in the middle of the 2 line box, foam box, or the one. So between those two, there will be your braking point. We'll go slow, and you'll see from the outside. So now I want to brake. So it's pretty much when you're in the inside between those two boards. So first corner, you need to be really careful, because when you're gonna brake and turn a bit at the same time. And since the corner you're going down, the rear will come loose. And if you're not careful, if you carry a little bit too much speed, you're probably gonna spin. It's a really tricky corner because you lose all the grip on the bag until after the apex. So when you start going back down, you have your force going back on the car, then you'll get all your grip. But until that, the car is very loose on the bag. So just be careful on that. Test different brake bias, it could help. But you probably better, if you're losing controls a lot of time there, just back up your braking point a bit. Take it a little bit slower so you get a good exit after that. So you're gonna brake, turn you try to as much as possible braking, and then you're gonna coast a little bit, and your apex will be right between those 2 posts. But those 2 posts will probably get destroyed, and if you're going for an up lap, you could take those curb. You're probably gonna take those posts off anyway. So you just need to remember where they are, or you could also there's some rubber when the track is optimal. I don't know if it will be that visible between the posts. It will be that much visible if the track is green. Probably not. I'm not sure, but that's your apex. At that point you should be back on full throttle until the next corner. And then you're going to use all the track until the gravel on the left. It's fine on the green stuff after the curve. It's fine. You're not gonna get a track limit here. The track limit is the curb, so you need to have at least 2 tires on the curb, so you have plenty of space. You're gonna touch the gravel here before you get track limit, so you're gonna lose probably much time there. So, but use it. You could use it as much as you want. So I'm going like right close to the gravel, as close as possible, without touching it. This is still fine. It's not gravel. Oh, sorry. Even if there's a little bit of gravel on the green, it's still fine. It's not good gravel. The gravel is still like a couple, if you look at the left rear tire, it's a couple centimeter that will be gravel, and then you're even more, but the first patch of gravel disc here, those are fine to touch it, no problem. So use all the track that you have. Any question for turn 1? So that's a no. Then we're going to turn 2. Breaking point for turn 2. When you're in the inside, for me it will be you have a couple for turn 2. So you have the bridge, you have the orange on the fence on the left, and you have the board with the slash on it. So you want to brake just before you get. You see, I'm seeing the bridge. I'm gonna brake like as soon as going. It's not when you're underneath the bridge. It's just when you get to not see it. We'll see. Just a little bit before. So it's just a little bit before we get. Yeah, when I see this orange on my left. So don't use the shadow of the bridge. That will change throughout the day, depend on the day, the time of the day you are racing. So don't use that. Use the orange, the bridge. Use the one that you prefer of those 3. I will not use the board as destructible because you never know, you could lose it. So I will practice with the orange or the bridge. And then you're gonna brake hard for the turn 2, as straight as possible, and you're gonna try to I'm gonna do it's going slowly. You'll see you brake as straight as possible. And then you're gonna trail brake as much as possible in this corner. So you're gonna go for the apex, start turning the car, start releasing the brake, then you try to trail brake. Then here on a little bit on throttle, that's the Porsche, and I short shift to the second. That's just to prevent some wheel spin that I have a small issue with. First one on the Porsche was too much wheel spin. I was just losing the rear. Push that just a little bit quicker. So this is one line, but you could see some other driver will take a wider line to this turn, and it's also fine. So be careful if you're like I'm going for the curb on the right, but you'll see some people going a little bit later for the curb. So if you're trying to pass here, just be careful and keep that in mind, because some driver will take it wider and it's perfectly fine to take that turn. So you don't want to dive on it because you think it's gonna miss it, but it's just the way it's doing that corner. So just be careful. Everything that you have available. Here in Brand Hatch, this is one, but this is the concrete. This is fine. This is not grass. You still have plenty of grip on the thing on the left of the curve. It's grass on the concrete, but you could use it where they have it. So this is one place that you could use it. See, will have my 2 tire. This is fine. It's still here. Like this patch look lighter. Here look like they have more grass, but you still have time to go back on the track and they still grip here.
So track limits here is curb again, like turn 1?
Yep. If you have your 2 right tire outside the curve, you could get, but on this corner it's pretty hard. Next one is easy to get a track limit, but this one is pretty hard. this was using a lot of track here. We could use a little bit less. It should still be fine. So next, third corner. Again, we have on the right, we have the orange, the first orange, and we have the foam board, the slash, the one slash, and that will be your breaking point. So you will break in reference. So you will break when you get by. See, when I get to the orange, that's my play I want to break. So I'm trying to break as straight as possible as usual. I will, on this slab, I think I should just, yeah, I bring back a little bit the steering wheel to try to be more straight. I could do it a bit more, but it just didn't do much. So you want to go, now you release, and for your corner you want to use a little bit of this curve on the left, but not too much, because it's a bit bumpy if you go a little bit too much. But you could use it the first half of it, no problem. But if you take out those posts, you're probably gonna bumps a bit, because when you get to the outside it's bumpy. But on the exit, this is one place that you could easily get a track limit. You want to, again, you want to use all the track that you have available, because we still have the concrete on the right of the curve, so we want to use it as maximum, so we could have as much speed as possible on the semi-straight that's coming. And track limit will be the curve, so you don't want your left tire to go past the curve. Slowly. When you're back on throttle, full throttle, you stay on it. So the tires are still on the, they are still on the curve, so it's still fine. You have, see the right tire still on the, you see a lot of grass, but it's still concrete. You still have grip there. Maybe in the rain you need to be careful also on the exit of any corner in the rain, but when it's dry here in Burnout, you could use this part of the track and it's fine. You're gonna gain a lot of time by using all that extra concrete on the exit of the curb where it's possible in Burnout. They don't have it on all the corner, but when you have it, use it. Going to corner number 4. Again, you'll see those orange marker. They are everywhere around this track. So the next one is here. You have again the white foam board with the slash, and you have the orange after that. So there will be, you want to brake when you pass it. Let's check, you could brake a little bit later. It's somewhere between those points. You could try to push it a little bit, and when you're gonna brake on for this corner, because the next thing after this corner is the longest straight of the track, so you want to prioritize the exit of this one, so you could have a good straight line speed. If you're fighting a car in front of you, you have a bad exit here, it will be a good place to try to pass, because you'll get a much better exit. So I'm trying to brake here, try in the middle of the road, and you'll see for this one, so I'm braking, and where I want to be back on full throttle is so you see, like this part here is get like flatter. It's not turning as much as before. Like here we have it turn, gets flat, the curve, and then it turn again. that's where I want to put my wheel, my left wheel. I want to put just beside the curb, and that's where I'm gonna start to get back on throttle, to get full throttle, to get a good exit after that. So let's see. And even from the inside, you could see, like, just, I'll try to go slow. Here, you see, just in front of the car, it's different. You have more rubber right now. So this is where it will be your apex, and you'll be back on full throttle to exit the corner. So let's go slowly from the outside. Then you back full throttle, and you stay on it. So this one, the exit. Be careful of this. You don't want to use as much track as the last corner for the exit of turn 4. It ends really quickly after that, and at the end of the curve there's a big bump. So if you still on the curb, like here, if you're still on the curb and stay after the curve, there's a big bump and it will just jump your car, and you're just gonna lose a bunch of time for the straight. So try to get out of this curve before the end. So if we take a look here, I'm on it. I'm just on the curve. I don't want to push it more, and then I exit it. I don't want to touch the grass or anything that it's just after the curve, because that's where the bump is, right when those curves stop and go into the smaller one. It's somewhere around here. That's the big bump that you're probably not gonna lose control. It's just gonna slow you down, because it's gonna probably engage TC and you're gonna lose time on the straight. And the straight on Brandash not very long, so you don't want to have a bad exit here and just lose the position because you go too wide. Back on the left quick. You just take your time. You want to have as less movement in the steering wheel as possible to have less drag on the wheel. Take your time, just try to keep a straight line as possible. So after the not so long straight we have here in Brandash, we have the fastest corner, and again we have those boards. We have it on the left, we have the foam board with the 2 bar, the 1, we have those orange. They are everywhere, so we're gonna use it again for your braking point. So go slower. Braking point for me, I'm using after the first orange on the fence on the right. I'm braking after that, like almost halfway between this one and the next one that we have a little bit further. That's almost in line with the foam board with the 1 line. So I'm gonna brake quick, release the brake. I give a little bit of gas just to settle, get some grip on the rear. I think if I remember correctly, when I did it in the McLaren, I think it was the same thing. I will still have a little bit of throttle for this corner because it's so fast. So I think I was doing the same thing. Back throttle, and here again the curb, you just want to go on it. Don't go too much on the left. You're gonna touch the grass. If you touch the grass, this is fine. You could go on this curve. I could even go a little bit wider. Yeah, if you touch the grass a little bit after the curve stop, it's not, it will be fine. You're not gonna lose control here, but I better stay safe, and it's not gonna make a big difference in your lap time anyway. Let's go to turn 6, I think. So again, those boards are everywhere, like I said. We are going to use the board. I'm using the board on orange on the right side. So right after the, so you have this one, and then in the middle of this one, and before the foam board on the left, I'm gonna start to brake, and on this corner, this curve here, you could cut a lot. And then when I say a lot, you could have both tire, your right tire could be on the grass here and it's fine. You could use it a lot. The only thing you will see on this lap, I'm not using as much, probably always, I don't know, between a 10 and a 2, because I was late on throttle, because I didn't cut as much that I want to. But if you do it, give it a little bit, because you're going over the curve, you want to give a little bit of throttle to lift the front, just so you get smoother over the curve. So we'll take, so see, I'm just on the curve, just passing it a little bit with the right tire, but you could cut a lot more. I'll try to find just that section on another lap, maybe after. I'll come back to that, but you could cut a lot more. So since I didn't cut that much, because right here I probably could be back full throttle and use the next corner. You could use a lot of exit. See, we still have the concrete after the curve, and you could use it. You could go like close to the gravel there, and it will be fine. Again, the track limit will be the curb, so you want to keep at least 2 wheels on the red and white curb. So see here, I'm late on the throttle. I'm after, like when I got back on it, I'm gonna use all the try that I could use here. So you're going right to the gravel. Next corner, it's a blind corner, like here. Even if I'm outside the car, I'm still not seeing where the corner will be. It's even worse when you're in the car. And we still have those orange fence. We have the board on the right, the foam board. That will be your breaking point, like between the 2 orange on the fence will be, again, a good I'll go slower. So I see again between those 2 orange will be your one of your braking reference. So you want to be on the left as much as possible, because you want the next corner, you'll see we do have the same as previously. We want to cut as much as possible. We have this small concrete patch that we could put the right wheel on those and it's fine. So use it, cut it to open the corner so you could have a good exit again. So let's see. On a brake, release, and give a little bit of throttle here because the Porsche. But here, this one I cut it. That's how I wanted this one to be done. See, I'm right on that concrete thing that they put on the outside of the curb. I don't want to use it. If you touch the grass after this part after, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's gonna touch it, but that's perfectly fine to use it. On the exit for this corner, be careful because your full throttle back was still turning to get to the next corner, and if you go a little bit too wide here, this part here, I will not touch it, this one, because it's not that long. When you get to it, it end up like, I don't know if you could see it with, you see like it's square. I don't know if you could see it on the string, but
Oh yeah, like drops in half.
yeah, I think it's,
Oh yeah, I see it.
yeah, right here it drops like cut like line. I think it's the same thing at the end. It like just cut, yeah, like here just cut. So it's not gradual, it's really drastic when it cut. So be careful. From this one, I just want to get close to the white line as possible. I'm trying to not touching it, but if you touch it, try to keep your steering straight so you will have a chance to not spin. Just back full throttle and just want as close as possible as the white line. Because here I think it's just the smallest part. When you get to the final exit, yeah, it's just a small part that ends really quickly after the end of the turn. So don't try to use it. I will not use it. I will just go close to the white line as possible. Next corner, same thing again. We have the orange on the right, and we also have the foam board. That will be when you get to it. That's where you want to start your braking. See, I'm starting even before, a little bit before. So you want a straight steering, and for the corner, you want to use this curve on the inside. Use it. You could use it all of it. It's fine. You have a lot of camber in the road. I will L to turn the car. So use this curve as much as possible. You want to cut it. You'll see when I get to the replay. Oh. Let's go into it slowly. You see the part that's bigger for the curve, you want to have your tire over there. Back for the apex, you're going back full throttle. And for the corner exit, for this corner, you just want to use the curve. See, there's no extra concrete after this one, so just go on the curb and just be careful that you see like a step. The curve is like a step, so you just need to go get back on the track before that, because there are some bumpy place after the curb like previous corner. So just use the curve, get back on the track. You have plenty of it. You have time to get back on the curve, back on the track. So it's perfectly fine to use with any car, but you just want to get back to the track like that. And then you just go slowly, gonna move to the left. There's no rush, you have plenty of time. Like I said before, you don't want to have less drag as possible on the wheel, so smooth input on the steering to bring you back. And we'll get to the final corner. And we still have the orange, foam, and we have the row, yeah. Those 3 points. So I'm gonna brake. Things. So a little bit after the orange, before the foam board, but I will not take the foam board as the reference. So a bit after the orange, but before the road that cross the track. That will be where I'm braking. And when you get to the last corner, for the first lap or when you do practice offline, out lap or anything, you have those posts that will be your apex, but there's a good chance those posts will be taking out at lap 1, so don't count on them. You just need to get used to it because everybody's taking it out. You want to go out, you could use the curve a little bit, it's fine if you touch it, so that's why those posts will not stay on very long. We'll go see for the last one. Want to brake straight as possible, start the turn, and then I'm gonna let go the brake. Then another car will just be coasting here. You see I still have like, I don't know, between 10 and 20% on for the Porsche, but that's just a Porsche. Just for you, if you're not in a Porsche, just coast, just no gas, just let the car go. And when you get to those posts, by the end of it, you should be back full throttle for the straight, front straight. Get as close as possible and get back on throttle. And again, use all the track that you have available. So you're gonna go on the left, as close as the curb, the white line, because and then want to bring it back to the right of the track to finish the lap. Just because the way the track is done, you have a lot of camber on it, and you go, so you just have a little bit less. It's less harder on the car to stay on the right, so you carry a little bit more speed just by doing so. So this lap, not a lot of corner, quick track, it's twisty, really hard to pass someone, so you will need to be patient when you're gonna race there. Wait for some mistake, take advantage on the straight, for if you do a good exit for the longest straight, that could be a good place, but be careful. It's a really tight track to race on it. This also could be really fun. Do you have any question on the track? Any corner, anything?
So it's the second to last corner that kind of like that dive into the hole to the left. I always mess up by going too far to the right. I'm just
This one?
yeah, it's like I always mess up because I come up on that board there, and I always want to get over as far as I can to the right. Like with the Porsche, is it something where I'm like getting as close as I can, or is there any wiggle room?
Go close to the white line, but don't cross it.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's a Renage in the old circuit, and it's pretty much grass right after the line. There's not much grip except on corner exit where I said there's some concrete stuff. That is fine, but like here, when you're on corner entry, just don't go over the white line, and you should be fine.
Okay.
Because if you touch the grass here, you're gonna end up in the wall. Then you could ask me how I know.
Yeah, that's how I know.
Yeah, same. I show you this lap because this lap that's my fastest lap. But if I go through the replay and look at all my other lap, you will ask how he's gonna finish the race when he's gonna race on the next one, because I'm always on the wall, just because I'm pushing to try to find a limit. So when I'm practicing, I'm just going as close as possible, but when I get to the race, I just back up everything a little bit so I could keep the car on the track. But there's a lot of crash in my practice, but that's why I'm practicing. Any other corner? We want to see something else. I said I'm gonna have to. Yeah, there's one corner that I want to look if I cut it more in one lap, but fine. See, I have a lot of my right wheels are on the grass, but this is perfectly fine. And you see, I don't know if you remember, but right here I'm already starting to be on throttle. Maybe I'm gonna mess up the exit, but we'll see. Yeah, I'll lift up a little bit, but it's fine. So I'm gonna watch it full speed just to have an idea how much you could cut it. You could check it from the inside. So yeah, this corner you could still cut a lot and you'll be fine. Any other question? If no one has any question, we'll stop there and wish you all luck on your race this week. Hope you all fun.
Thank you.
Thanks to you too.
Great, thanks for doing this.
No problem. We'll see you next week for next ride.